Hey guys, I've been on vacation, back with the Spelliterally. Finally got a really nice box. It took me a few good hours to make this. Made it out of cardboard, same material as this. It's just painted in silver and have a lacquer spray on top of it. Looks really cool, feels really cool. And let me show you the inside of it. There are 4 screws, one here, here, here and here. This is the USB cable. I haven't made any proper USB connection, and that's going to be next. So let me unscrew the screws and open the case. And this is how it looks inside. Now, I'm missing one RFID here. I actually took one from a friend and it didn't work well to the level it drove the system completely nuts. So there is a loom here. It's basically just all the SPI connections and of course power, and the cable connect for each one goes all the way back here. I want to put some hot glue here to keep all the wires together. Haven't shrink this yet because I don't know where I'm mounting it. If I'm mounting it like this or this, this has a none part. It's going to be dependent on the USB. But it looks really cool, works really cool. And now let me show you the tons of changes I made in the software. As I mentioned before, I made a change to the game look as well, with a little help from my brother. Thank you for that. Let me show you how it looks when you play. So this is how it looks like when you put the right letter in the right place. I show you what happens when you put it in the wrong place, you see, or if it's a wrong letter. And also, when you're done, I've added a sound that you can play right now that says, good job. My kid really loves it. So now let me show you the changes I made in the way that that card data is stored in the system. In order to make my life easier or anyone else that would like to use the game, I had to make some form of a card admin, meaning a place that allows you to connect between the RFID card and the actual character that it will be associated to. While working on it, I realized that the way I'm storing it right at that point, which was using the 4-digit ID as X string format, and each file had the character stored inside, was problematic when I tried to do this, when I tried to have the option to have a backup for the files. So I went ahead and thought of, okay, how would I be able to change it in a way that I can download it and also upload the data without having to break it into smaller files. And let me show you how the cards.txt looks like, and then I'll show you the change that I made. Okay, so now let's go ahead and download the file. I'll open it with a notepad. And this is, by the way, served directly from the ESP, of course. And now you can see this is the 4 byte in a hexadecimal view of it as a string with the character it represents. And there is a new character line here. So when I'm looking for it, I take the first 8 characters, turn them into the key, and then I'm looking for a comma. I'm looking for the character and a break of n. Let me show you what I've done within the code, how I'm handling it within the code. So this is the function that is in charge of reading the cards.txt and storing it within the array that I have. So what I basically do is I use the spiff and I open the file, and then I do a loop of 4, and each time I take 2 characters. And those 2 characters are hexadecimal value that is stored as a string or as a set of 2 characters. It's not the actual value, the actual hexadecimal value. This is what this function does, is it takes those 2 characters and turns them in an actual hexadecimal value stored in a byte, since it doesn't matter if it's a byte or a character. And then I'm setting it within the array itself. The next thing that I do is I'm looking for the comma that I mentioned, that is between the ID and the character that that ID is representing. And again, here I'm reading the character and I'm setting it within the other array that is called letters. And I'm looking for escaped end, which is the end of that set of information. Now, the main reason that I've changed the way that I'm handling the cards was to make my life easier when it comes to downloading and uploading it. So When it comes to downloading, this is the entire line that handles this, and it's making a server static for the cards txt, taking it from the settings cards txt of the spiffs. And the other one is the uploading. Now I'm using here the handle file upload, and I'm going to show it to you in a second. And I'm using it from the restore cards. And what I do is within this form, if I do a browse and upload, I'm basically just sending the file into the ESP. I'll show you now the function that handles it. As you can see here, what I'm basically doing is taking the saver upload here. It's an example I found somewhere else and I've just adjusted it to my needs. It's the same example you will find in the core of the ESP. And basically just saving it. You see, you open the file, and if there is a upload file, it writes the current buffer, and when it hands, it shows you that it's done. When I'm done, what I'm doing is I'm resetting the letter list, and then I'm doing a redirect to the admin cards, which then refresh the UI side of the system. Let me show you now how you handle the actual card admin. The card admin works only on the leftmost reader of the Spelliterally. Now, the way it works is if you place a card that the system knows, as I'm doing right now, I'm placing a C on it. As you can see, it shows the letter and allows you to change that letter to something else. Now, if you will remove the card, it will show you no card. And if I place a brand new card that was never in the system, as you can see, it says new, and it allows you to select a letter, which I can do here, and then just press add. And as you can see, it's already within the system, meaning now it shows as an update and not add. Now let me show you in the code how all of this magic works. Now when I started thinking of a change, I originally thought of using a JSON for this. The only reason I've decided against it was that when you take a JSON and you want to do things with it, you have to read the entire JSON in order to do changes. While when I'm using this way, and I'll show you in a second, I can do manipulation on the file without reading the entire file. So what I basically do is when I save a card is that I'm turning the current card ID, which is it's a pointer to a array of 4 of the card, and I'm changing them into, as I said before, an hexadecimal string representation of the card itself. Then I'm reading the cards, and then I have another variable that should have been passed in the function, and it's not because the code is a bit of a mess, but it's going to be there. And this says what is the state of the card. And 2 means that it's a brand new card. And when it's a brand new card, what I want to do is just append. So I'm opening the file with an A. That means append. And all I do is I'm just writing the X representation, a comma, the letter, and then closing one, and I close the file, and I'm done. Now, if it's an update, what I do is I'm looking for the offset. The offset will be the current card IDX times 11. That's the length of an entire section, which this will be 11 characters. And then I'm adding 9 because I have to get to this point. So it's 8 plus 1, that's 9. And then I'm opening the file with a right plus. I'm doing a seek to that point, and I just write the letter and close, and I'm done. I just made the change. It's that easy. Now, that's about what the changes I made right now. I still have to work on the word list admin, because otherwise it's going to be hard. You have to upload files in this. I haven't finished thinking how I did it. As I said, I thought about using JSON, but especially with the word list, it's a really long list of URLs and stuff, so it's going to be a long JSON. Anyone has ideas, I would love to hear that in the comments. If you haven't done that before, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, leave some comments, and see you next time.